My name is Serena. I'm 27. And yesterday, my dad looked at me with shock and asked, "Why did you come home in a taxi? What happened to the BMW we gave you for your birthday?" Before I could even breathe, my mom smiled and said, "That car belongs to her half-sister now." My dad stayed silent for a moment, deep in thought. And then he smiled. Before I tell you what happened next, please like this video, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. I'm not special. I'm not the kind of person people write stories about. I'm just Serena, 27 years old, working as a junior architect in a firm where my ideas get watered down by senior designers who treat me like I'm still in school. I spend my days hunched over blueprints, trying to build something meaningful from scratch. Trying to prove I belong in rooms where everyone else seems so confident, so sure of their place. I thought hard work would be enough. I thought if I just kept my head down, stayed quiet, didn't ask for too much, that eventually people would see me. But that's the problem with being quiet, isn't it? People don't see you, they see through you. I grew up in a house that was split down the middle, like a cracked foundation. My mom, sharp, calculating, always 3 steps ahead in a game I didn't even know I was playing. My dad, peaceful, kind, the type of man who would rather swallow his words than start a fight. And then there's her, my half-sister, 19 years old, charming in that effortless way that makes people want to give her things, beautiful in a way that opens doors before she even knocks. She's the golden child, the miracle. The one who gets celebrated for waking up in the morning while I get a nod for working 16-hour days. I became the reliable one. The one you don't have to check on because she'll figure it out. The one who carries the weight no one else can see because she never complains. And God, I was tired. So tired of being invisible in my own family. Every accomplishment I ever earned was treated like a footnote. When I graduated with honors, my mom said, "Well, you've always been good at school." When I got my first real job, she said, "It's about time." But when my half-sister posted a photo that got 1,000 likes, my mom threw a celebration dinner. When she announced she was starting a fashion influencer career, my mom acted like she'd just won a Nobel Prize. It didn't matter that she had no business plan, no savings, no idea what she was doing. She was trying, and that was enough. Meanwhile, I was just expected to succeed, expected to be fine, expected to keep going without praise, without recognition, without a single moment where someone looked at me and said, "I'm proud of you." My dad loved me. I know he did. But he was a peacekeeper, not a protector. He avoided conflict with my mom like it was a disease. So when she made decisions that hurt me, he stayed silent. And silence, I learned, is just another way of choosing a side. The BMW was my dad's idea. He came to me one evening, sat me down, and said, "You deserve something that makes life easier." It wasn't the most expensive car, but it was mine. It had heated seats and Bluetooth and enough trunk space for all my project boards and material samples. It symbolized something I didn't even realize I was desperate for: independence, freedom, a piece of my life that I controlled. I used that car for everything: late-night client meetings across the city, early morning site visits when public transport wasn't running, weekend trips to suppliers to pick up samples my firm needed by Monday. That car wasn't just transportation. It was my ability to do my job well. It was my ability to build the career I'd worked so hard for. But my mom was never happy about the gift. From the moment my dad handed me the keys, she made little comments. "You could have given her a smaller car. She doesn't need something that expensive. There are better uses for that kind of money." Every comment was a needle, small, sharp, designed to deflate my joy without looking like she was doing anything wrong. It started small. My half-sister needed a ride to a brand deal meeting. Could she borrow the car? Just this once? My mom stood behind her with that look. "Don't be selfish, Serena." So I said yes. Then it was another meeting, then a photo shoot. Then she just started taking the keys without asking. I'd come home from work, exhausted, ready to collapse, and the car would be gone. I'd text her, no response. I'd text my mom. "She needed it. You barely drive anyway." That phrase, "you barely drive," became a weapon. A lie told so many times it started to feel like truth. I drove that car every single day, but they looked me in the eye and told me I didn't need it, that she needed it more, that family should share. Sharing. God, I've learned to hate that word. Because it was never about sharing, was it? Sharing means both people give something up. This was just me losing and her taking. I started losing access to my own car. My name was on the title, my money paid for the insurance, but I couldn't use it. I had to take taxis to client meetings. I had to beg coworkers for rides to site visits. I had to restructure my entire life around the absence of something that was supposed to be mine. And when I tried to say something, when I tried to push back, my mom would smile that patient, condescending smile and say, "Don't be dramatic, Serena. It's just a car." But it wasn't just a car. It was my dignity. And they knew it. I came home yesterday after one of the longest days of my career. A presentation that went badly. A senior architect who took credit for my design. A taxi ride I couldn't afford because once again, my car was gone. I was so tired I could barely stand. My dad opened the door, and I saw the confusion on his face before he even spoke. "Why did you come home in a taxi? What happened to the BMW we gave you for your birthday?" I couldn't answer. My throat was too tight. My chest was too heavy. I just stood there, staring at him, wondering how he didn't know, wondering how he could live in the same house and not see what was happening to me. And then my mom appeared, slid into the doorway with that practiced, fake sweet voice that makes my skin crawl. "Oh, that car belongs to her half-sister now." Just like that. Like it was a simple fact, like she was telling him the weather. No guilt, no hesitation. No acknowledgement that she had just stolen something from me and handed it to someone else, like I didn't matter. Behind her, I saw my half-sister. She was standing in the hallway, with her ring light still on, her phone in her hand, pretending nothing was wrong. She didn't even look at me. That moment, standing in the doorway of my childhood home, erased from my own story, that's when something inside me finally cracked. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just left. I went back to my apartment, locked the door, and sat on the floor of my bathroom because it was the only room without windows, the only place where I felt like I could breathe without someone watching. And then I cried. Not because of the car, but because I felt disposable. I had spent 27 years trying to be good enough, trying to earn love that should have been free, trying to prove I deserved space in my own family. And in one sentence, my mom had made it clear. I didn't matter. I was a resource, a bank account, a backup plan. But I was not a person worth protecting. Something broke open in me that night. I don't know if it was anger or grief or just exhaustion, but I couldn't keep pretending this was normal. I couldn't keep swallowing the pain and putting on a brave face. For the first time in my life, I let myself feel the full weight of how much I had been hurt. And then, through the tears, I had a thought. A small, persistent whisper. "Check your bank account." I pulled up my banking app with shaking hands, telling myself I was being paranoid, that I was overreacting. But the numbers didn't lie. Payments leaving my account for my mom's home renovation project. Purchases for my half-sister's ring lights, backdrops, camera equipment, things I never approved. The car insurance had been switched out of my name 3 months ago, and I'd been charged for maintenance I never authorized. I added it up, over and over, hoping I'd made a mistake. But the total stayed the same, $6,427. That's how much they had taken from me. Not borrowed, taken, behind my back. Without permission, without guilt. I printed everything out. Bank statements, transfer receipts, text messages, where I'd asked about charges and been ignored. I watched the pages come out of my printer, one by one, and I felt something harden inside me. The shaking stopped. The tears dried. I knew exactly what I had to do. I was done being silent. My dad called the next morning. His voice was different, calm, but with an edge I'd never heard before. "Serena, can you come home? Something isn't right." I didn't want to go. I didn't want to step back into that house that had never really felt like mine. But something in his tone made me say yes. When I arrived, they were all in the living room. My mom on the couch, arms crossed, already defensive. My half-sister in the corner, scrolling through her phone like this was an inconvenience. My dad standing by the window, hands in his pockets, looking older than I'd ever seen him. I didn't sit down. I placed my printed documents on the coffee table, one stack at a time, and watched my mom's face change. She tried to laugh it off. "Serena, what is this? Some kind of audit?" My half-sister rolled her eyes, but my dad said quietly, firmly, "Let her speak." So I spoke, and God, it felt like ripping my chest open. I explained every charge, every lie. Every moment I'd been gaslit into thinking I was selfish for wanting access to my own car, my own money, my own life. I explained how I'd had to take taxis to work, how I'd missed opportunities because I couldn't get to meetings on time, how I'd been drained financially, emotionally, spiritually by people who were supposed to love me. My mom's face went pale. My half-sister shrank into the couch, and my dad's expression changed completely. My dad went silent. He stared at the documents on the table, his jaw working like he was chewing on words he didn't want to say. And then, slowly, he smiled. Not a happy smile. A clear smile. The smile of a man who had just seen the truth and knew exactly what to do about it. He turned to my mom, and his voice was ice. "You mishandled my daughter, and you lied to me." Then he turned to me. "The BMW goes back to you. Today. Right now." He looked at my half-sister. "You're cut off from Serena's accounts. Effective immediately." And then he said something I never expected. "Years ago, I set up a savings trust for the child who showed responsibility, who worked hard, who didn't take advantage." He looked directly at me. "It's yours, Serena. It always has been." My mom tried to argue. My half-sister tried to cry. But my dad didn't move. He just stood there, solid as stone, and for the first time in my life, I felt protected. I looked at my mom, at my half-sister, at the two people who had spent years making me feel small, and I said the words I should have said a long time ago. I won't be used anymore. I'm done funding everyone's dreams but mine. My career comes first now. My life comes first now. And if you can't respect that, then you don't get access to me." My dad nodded. My mom said nothing. My half-sister stared at the floor. I took my car keys. I took my documents. And I left. I got a new apartment closer to work. Smaller, quieter, mine. My dad visits often, bringing takeout and encouragement, asking about my projects like they matter. We're rebuilding something, slowly, carefully. My half-sister came by once. She paid full price for a design consultation, something I usually do for free for family. She didn't ask for a discount. She didn't ask for anything. She just paid, said thank you, and left. I don't know if that was an apology, but it was a start. My mom keeps her distance. She sends polite text messages with no power behind them. "Hope you're well?" "Thinking of you." Words that mean nothing because they cost nothing. I don't respond often. I don't owe her my energy anymore. For the first time in my life, I feel peace. Not happiness, not yet, but peace. The kind that comes from knowing your boundaries are solid, from knowing you're not a resource to be drained, from knowing that you matter. If you've ever had to reclaim your own worth, your own voice, your own boundaries, I hope my story gives you strength. I hope you know that it's not selfish to protect yourself. It's not cruel to say no. It's not wrong to demand the respect you deserve. Tell me where you're watching from in the comments. And subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Because we all have them. We all have moments where we were made to feel small. And we all deserve to take up space.